In this video I'm going to use a really simple idea that you probably already know, and then I'm going to use that on a 2-5-1 to show you how you can add some extra interesting colors on top of a 2-5-1, and also actually to give you some ideas on how you can make a line that has sort of an arch over the entire cadence. So you're not just playing something on the 2 and then something on the 5 and then you resolve that, but you're actually playing something that's really starting on the 2 and continuing through the 5 to the 1. So the examples that I'm going to go over here are on a 2-5-1 in the key of B flat major. So that means it's C minor 7, F7 and then B flat major 7. And the idea that I'm going to use on top of this is a line cliché. So I'm just going to take the line cliché on the C minor chord, which is similar to a progression that you might know in songs like My Funny Valentine or In a Sentimental Mood. So we get this. And you can put that on top of the 2-5-1 without too much trouble. So if I play it like this with the original bass notes, this works really well. You don't really need to sort of let the other guys in the band know or anything. It will probably fit with whatever they're doing, and they can quite easily hear and recognize this also, so it's easy to react to, because you get some really sort of distinct notes in there. So this works really well if you're playing chords, and of course you can do the same if you're soloing, and probably they've been doing this for as long as they've been playing bebop. I think it's really old, so probably 2 weeks after they invented bebop they came up with lines like this. So this line is just basically spelling out the harmonic movement, or especially this guide tone movement from C, B, B flat, A, and then resolving that to the third on the B flat. The way I'm doing this is just playing the basic harmony. So first a C minor triad, and then down a C minor major arpeggio, and then a really standard encircling of the third of F7, but coming out on, starting out on the B flat, so, and then I would just resolve that to the B flat. But you can of course also choose to not try to be really obvious about the movement of the line cliché, and then just use that as a foundation for some melodic ideas, and that could be something like this. So in this line, the basic movement is still there. So I'm going from this one to this one, and then you get the movement from the B flat to the A, but it's in a lower octave because I'm just using some different arpeggios. So I start off with this sort of triad bass C minor thing again, then down a C minor major arpeggio, and then instead of playing the B flat here, I'm going up to the 9th, and then I'm playing down an E flat major, so the arpeggio from the 3rd, but I do still get the B flat in there. And then up to the 3rd, and then from the flat 9 down the scale to resolve to a B flat major 7. But we can of course also take this a step further and then try to assign some chords to the different notes and not just use the C minor all the time. So one way to do that would be to say, well, we start with the C minor, then we go to the dominant of C minor and just add an auxiliary dominant, so that's a G7 with a flat 9, and then back to C minor, and then maybe an F7 altered before we resolve to B flat major 7. So in this way we already added the extra G7, so we have a sort of another sound that we can just get away with putting on top of C minor because we're going to resolve it in the next bar. This was the progression that I used in the line that I played in the beginning of the video. So that's this line. And what I'm doing here is quite simple. I'm just playing, so for the C minor, I'm just playing a C minor 7 arpeggio, starting on the root even. And then on the G7 flat 9, I'm just using the arpeggio from the 3rd, so that's B diminished. And I can go straight into that one here, and then just continue up, ending on this flat 9. Then I resolve that down to the C minor 7, to the G. And here I'm using a G minor triad, this pattern, and then on the F7 altered I'm just using the G flat or F sharp minor major arpeggio, and then resolving that to the D on the B flat major 7. So another thing we can do is to play not a G7 from C harmonic minor, but maybe really play a G7 altered instead of that. And it will still work because we're playing on the weak part of the bar and we're clearly resolving it in a logical way when we get to the next bar and we're going back sort of inside, so it becomes almost like a side slip or just sort of a quick dissonance if the one playing the chords behind us doesn't follow us, which is then still okay. So here again we're just using arpeggios to sort of make the lines, and we're kind of letting the harmony make the melody for us almost. So in this line I start off with, on the C minor I play an E flat major 7, so just the arpeggio from the 3rd. So then on the G7 I'm using the half diminished arpeggio from the 7th of the chord, so that's an F, and then just playing that descending. And then on the, well, I've written it down as an F7 here, but of course it's just an F7 sus that we're kind of treating as if it's a C minor. And here I'm just playing this sort of C minor cliché line, which is just 5th, 3rd, 2nd root. And then when we get to the F7 altered, I'm just going down to the B, which is of course the sharp 11 or flat 5, and then down the scale, because that's going to give us like flat 5, 3rd, sharp 9, flat 9, and then I resolve that to the 5th of B flat. There was a few examples of how you can use this type of idea to develop some lines and have another approach to playing over a 2-5-1. I think it's important that you have different options available when you're trying to improvise over a song, so that you don't always play the same progressions in the same way. So in that way it's like refreshing to just being able to not only play over the changes but also to interpret them and then maybe add or take away chords to just add some different colors to the different choruses that you're playing. I guess I called it a reharmonization in the title, but you could also argue that this is not really a reharmonization as much as it is sort of an inner voice movement. But since we're using it to sort of play different chords, that's why I'm calling it a reharmonization. And of course I later really turn it into other chords as well, so there it really does become a reharmonization. If you want to download the examples that I went over in this video as a PDF, you can go to my website. In the article that's accompanying this lesson there's a PDF download. When you're on my website you can of course also subscribe to my newsletter if you want to stay up to date with the stuff that's happening. So if I'm playing or touring somewhere, or if there's an interview, or if I'm releasing a new lesson in my WebStore. If you have any suggestions or questions about the stuff that I went over in this lesson, or if you have an idea for another video, that's something I should make a video on, then leave a comment on this video or connect with me on social media. I'm on Facebook, Twitter, Google+, Instagram. And it's nice to get some feedback from you guys, to hear what you guys want to hear lessons on, what you think if something is missing. So all feedback is of course welcome. That's about it for this week. Thank you for watching, and on to next week.